I'm sure you've all heard of the massive food chain known as McDonald's. I used to be a frequent enjoyer of the restaurant myself, but after a traumatic experience I had at one of their locations, I vowed to never go back there again. It all started on that fateful day, May 15th, 2019. I walked into my local McDonald's during my lunch break, and to my surprise, no one else was in the restaurant except for the cooks and the cashier. Peculiar, I thought, since this is usually a popular lunch spot for underpaid workers in the area like me. I walked up to the counter to order my usual, when I suddenly noticed a strange piece of paper taped to the bottom of the menu, with sloppy permanent marker writing that read, "Lost Burger." This confused me since I used to keep track of any major changes to the McDonald's menu, and I had never heard of this before. Nevertheless, I decided to take my chances and order it to see what it was like. "Hello, can I please get the Lost Burger?" I said to the miserable cashier. Little did I know, this would be my biggest mistake. The moment I spoke those words, the cashier's face turned pale. Without saying a word, she disappeared into the kitchen for exactly 23.002 seconds, and came back holding a single burger wrapped in paper. Just take it, please," the cashier stammered out as she handed me the burger, her voice wobbly and full of fear. "It's free." I was a bit unnerved by the way the cashier was acting, but I wasn't going to complain about getting free food. I happily took the burger from the cashier and made my way to an empty table and unwrapped the burger. It looked exactly like a normal cheeseburger at first glance, so I didn't think much of it when I picked it up and took a bite. Immediately after doing so, I began to taste a strange flavor, so I lifted up the bun and was shocked to see that all the cheese was actually hyper-realistic blood. I was terrified and wanted to stop eating the burger, but I was too hungry to do that. So I pressed on and kept eating to see what would happen. The moment I took the second bite, my eyes popped out of my head and rolled onto the table, and I was left with two scary, gaping black eye sockets dripping with red blood. Which is weird because my blood is usually blue. I dropped my burger and rushed to the restroom mirror, where I saw that I looked absolutely terrifying. I screamed really loudly. Why would this happen at McDonald's? A family-friendly establishment meant to be safe for kids. I couldn't stop eating the Lost Burger now. I was far too invested in what would happen next to stop. So I ran back to my table and picked up the burger again, ready to finish what I started. After my third bite, the burger pulled out a knife covered in blood, and I was stabbed multiple times in the chest. I was horrified and disgusted. I knew I had to put an end to this. I ran to the trash can to dispose of the burger, but to my surprise, the lid wouldn't budge, as if it had been sealed shut. I even tried leaving the McDonald's itself, but the doors were locked tight too, leaving me completely trapped. It seemed as if some force drove me to keep eating. I had no other choice but to eat the Lost Burger in its entirety. Each terrible bite spawned a new horror before me, including a bunch of skeletons popping out, extreme amounts of blood, and secret messages in all sorts of very spooky foreign languages. It was the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Finally, after finishing the burger, I sat there at my table with my eyes shut, trying to process the entire traumatizing experience. How could McDonald's do this to me? I assumed I would get to have my normal meal at my favorite fast food restaurant that day, but I guess I was wrong. However, upon opening my eyes again, I noticed that the once empty McDonald's was now full of happy dining customers, as if they had been there the whole time. I went back to the counter once again, and the paper reading Lost Burger was missing entirely. The cooks and the cashier behind the counter seemed more cheery and lively than how I had previously seen them as well. I wasn't even sure I was in the same McDonald's anymore, so I had to make sure. Hello? Do you happen to know about the Lost Burger?" I asked the cashier, who no longer appeared miserable. "Lost Burger?" the cashier responded, looking confused. "We've never sold an item by that name here before. Would you perhaps like to order a Big Mac instead?" I was shocked. How could she act like the burger I ate just didn't exist, as if she hadn't just given it to me moments earlier? Maybe I was going crazy. Maybe I just imagined it. But no, I know it was real. I know what happened to me, and I know what I saw. So I'm sending this warning out to you all. If you ever walk into a McDonald's and see a menu item called the Lost Burger, do not order it. It's for your own good.